why Gravity Forms might be the right choice for you, and how to get more out of it if you already own it. I hope I can share something really useful with you today. I've tried to include something for everyone here, so if you're a newbie, I'm going to start going slow. But if you've been using Gravity Forms for a while, please stick around because I think there will be something for you here too. So first a little bit about me. My name's Laura Hartwig. I'm a WordPress developer for the MarkNet Group, and I create websites, WordPress websites for customers. So I don't work for Gravity Forms. I didn't create Gravity Forms. I'm not affiliated with Gravity Forms in any way. I use Gravity Forms every day in the job that I do, creating websites, and it makes my life a lot simpler. I think it'll make your life simpler too, and that's why I wanted to talk with you about it today. I'm also the author of wpdecoder.com, where you'll find lots of free tutorials, including a whole bunch on Gravity Forms. And if you want just the slides of this presentation, they can be found at slideshare.net. So what I'd like to talk to you today about is, first, how easy it is to use Gravity Forms. You can set up a simple form in just 5 minutes. Many form field options are available, and setting up notifications is super easy. Gravity Forms is very easy to style. It comes with its own set of ready CSS classes, or you can create your own CSS classes. It's easy to increase the functionality of Gravity Forms through add-ons and third-party plugins. And there are other form options out there like Contact Form 7 and Ninja Forms, but I personally prefer Gravity Forms, and I want to show you why. So let's get started and talk about Gravity Forms. So first disclaimer is that Gravity Forms is a paid plugin. So you can see the prices for the licenses, and this is for 1 year. You can see a personal license is just $39, and usually after that year they'll send you a 50% discount code to renew your license for the following year. So what the license means is that you have support and you have upgrades available during that year's time. So you don't have to upgrade your license, but I find sometimes if I haven't upgraded that the drag and drop functionality doesn't work as well, so it's hard to edit forms or make new forms. But technically, if you have one form and you're just keeping it exactly the same, that form will keep working on your site. So the main difference between the developer license and the personal license, besides being for unlimited sites, is that it also enables the add-ons that we're going to talk about later. So I'll show you a little bit more about how important those are. So to get started, you're going to need to purchase the plugin from gravityforms.com, and they're going to send you a zip file. So you're just going to go into your WordPress dashboard, go into Plugins, Add New, and click the Upload Plugin button, and just upload it. It's that easy. Once you upload the plugin and activate it, you'll notice that there's a new menu item on your left menu of your dashboard called Forms. So right away you'll want to go into the settings and copy and paste the support license that they gave you so that you'll get automatic updates for Gravity Forms. Also at the bottom you can see that there's a reCAPTCHA account available to you for free. Personally, I don't use the reCAPTCHA because I don't find that I get much spam through Gravity Forms, but that is an option, and I'll show you a little bit about what that looks like a bit later. So Gravity Forms is super easy to use. If you were here with me, I'd give you a live demonstration, but since you're not, just go to this URL and I give you the step-by-step instructions on exactly how easy it is to use. So you can easily install the Gravity Forms through, you can easily add the form to your page or post by using the icon that Gravity Forms gives you. It's just like the media library icon where you can just add a form right into your page or post. They also have a form widget, so you can add a form easily to any sidebar or widget area. If you're using a visual composer like WP Bakery, since it's a widget, you can drag and drop your form to wherever you want it on your page. Very easy to use. You can also display Gravity Form using a custom template. That's a little bit more complicated, so I'm not going to talk about it today. So one of the things I love about Gravity Forms is all the form build options that are available. You can create multiple page forms, you can allow users to submit articles, or you can set up a simple shopping cart. So here are the standard fields. This is what they look like, and these are the basic form fields you would see as an option in any form. So you have a single line text, paragraph drop-down, multi-select, checkboxes, radio buttons, and even a number field so that you know you're going to get a number and not text. And all these form fields are really blank slates, so you can do anything that you want with them. There's also hidden form fields, so if you wanted to send yourself a note when you got the entry. There's form field HTML fields, so that if you wanted to add some extra text or an image or something, some kind of styling, you can do that. You can add section breaks to break up a long form, or even page breaks if you have a super long form and want to break it into multiple pages. So like I said, all of these are really a blank slate type of form field. So one thing that you can do with them, as you see in this first example, is if you want to create a password field for them, just check that enable password input. And when they put in the password, it'll come out as asterisks instead of being able to view the password. Also, I love the input mask options that Gravity Forms adds. There's a lot of standard forms, standard input masks, including phone number with extension, date, text ID, social security number, zip code, and you can also create your custom input mask. So for example, I have a customer who had a form and they were asking clients to enter a tax ID number. But they were having problems with the clients entering not enough numbers or too many numbers, so we created an input mask for them. So as you can see by this example, it'll create the little lines there so customers know exactly how many numbers to put in. If they don't put in enough numbers, they'll get an error message saying they need to enter more. And it puts the dashes exactly where they need to go. That way they can't even enter more numbers than that. It's not possible. So you're definitely going to get the right format that you need. At the bottom you can see the progress bar that can go either at the top of the page or the bottom of the page of multi-page forms. And I'm a big believer that customers are easily overwhelmed if they don't know how long a form is going to take to fill out. So if they see a long form, they're going to get nervous. This progress bar gives them the reassurance that they're already this much through the website. Either you can say a percentage through or the steps through, and you can customize this with the custom color that you want. So this lets your customers know that they are making progress and this isn't going to be an all-day thing for them. So I think you're more likely to have people finish the form if they see that progress bar. There's also a save and come back and fill out the form later option if they're logged in. Okay, so the next type of fields are the advanced fields. And personally, I think these should be up at the top because I find these are the form fields that I use most often. So you can see they have a course name. I mean, most forms that you have, you're going to ask the person their name. By default, it comes with first, last, but if you want to put in a middle initial, if you want to put a prefix like Dr., Mr., Mrs., you can do that. If you want just one line, say you're having people sign up for a newsletter and you don't want them to have to enter both the first name and last name, you can change that to just one field. So lots of options with that field alone. So they have date. You can see there's a little icon where they can click on the date icon and pick the date that way. Time, phone number, which can be an international phone number or US phone number. Address, you're seeing the way it is set up by default, but you can hide the address line too, or any of those fields that you want. And if you just wanted to just ask only the zip code, you can do that as well. Again, this address can be set up for international or just the US. You can also set up a default state. So if most of your customers are going to be entering New York and you don't want them to have to go through that drop-down menu to pick out the state, you can go ahead and set New York as the default for them. So there's the website, so that's going to make sure the website is in the right format with the HTTP at the beginning. Email, again, it's checking for the @emailwhatever.com. File uploads, which is really nice. So if you want somebody to be able to upload their resume for you, you can specify which file types that you'd like to accept, PDF, JPEG, whatever it might be, and you can specify the largest size of the file that you'll accept, because you don't want people uploading huge files to your website. So that's a really nice option. And then there's the list option. As you can see, the list option, it starts out with just one single line there, but if a customer needs to have more spaces, they just click on the plus and can enter as many places as they want there. So let's say, for example, I might have the Duggars visiting my website from 19andcounting.com, and I want to know the children's names. So if most customers only have 1 or 2 children, they'll see that one line and know they can enter 2, and this form won't be overwhelming because they're just seeing a single line there. But if the Duggars are there and they're filling this out and they need 17 lines to enter all their children's names, the form is flexible enough that it can work for them too, without being overwhelming by having 17 spaces for the average customer. Finally, at the bottom, this is what the CAPTCHA looks like if you do sign up for that CAPTCHA license. So, if you do have a problem with spam, that's an option for you. So the next kind of fields is the post fields. So if you have a website where you're wanting authors to submit articles, you don't have to give them access to the back end of your site. Through this form, they can send you an article and it comes automatically to you ready to go, saved as a draft so you can review it. So you can see they can put in the post title, the post body, which does accept HTML. They can put in an excerpt, they can put in tags, they can choose any of your preset up categories. They can even include a post image, and there's a custom field option. So let's say you're doing a website that you want book reviews. So you can set up a custom field for the author's name, the title of the book, even the ISBN number. So here you can see that you can use this custom field as any field type. So that means you can use an input mask and get that exact ISBN number without having to worry about not enough numbers, too many numbers. You could even create a content template so it'll display just the way you want. So I think that's a really nice option. The other final set of fields are the pricing fields, which I love. So if you have 1 or 2 things that you want to sell on your site and you don't want to deal with an entire shopping cart, you can use Gravity Forms to sell those items. If you have tickets to an event you want to sell, you can do it with Gravity Forms. If you want to set up a donation so people can make a donation to your site, you can do that with Gravity Forms. So the pricing fields options, the first is a product name. So you can have just a simple product, this is the product, it's this price, and that's it. Or maybe you have a product with different options. So let's say you have a personal license, a business license, and a developer license, and you want to charge different prices for all those different options. You can do that with a drop-down. If it's a product that maybe people want to buy more than one of, you can set up the quantity field. If that product has options, like maybe it comes in small, medium, and extra large, and maybe you want to charge $1 more for the extra large size, you can set that up with the options. There's a shipping option, and then there's the total option, which is super nice because you just throw that field in there and it automatically adds up all your products, your quantity, your options. It automatically comes out with a total there, which is super nice. So if you love that functionality of that total button, you can get that with just the number field. Just check the enable calculation and put in the equation that you want to use. So for example, say I have a customer and I want them to tell me how much of quantity A, B, and C that they want. So first you're going to set up the fields for product A, B, and C, and then you're going to throw in that number field and call it total. You're going to enable the calculation, use the merge tags to put in the fields that you've already set up, and it's going to calculate that for you automatically. So that's really nice, because sometimes customers, want to get a sense of how much either they're spending or, the total. It's just a nice option, I think. Also, one of my favorite options with Gravity Forms is conditional logic. I'm a big believer that people easily get overwhelmed by long forms. So you want to make that form as short as possible for them. And you want to guide them through it and make sure they're only answering the questions that are pertinent to them. So let's say I have the Duggars again, that they're going to come to my website. So the first thing I want to know is, do you have any children? If they have no children, then they're going to skip on to the next part of the form and answer the next questions that are pertinent to them. If they do have children, then I'm going to show that list field that we were talking about earlier, and they could put in up to 17 of their kids right there. So they could put in all their names. So that question for the names of your children is only going to show up if they answer yes to the question, do you have children? So this can be set up for multiple questions, if they answer yes to both questions, or in all sorts of ways you can configure it. So this, I think, is really super nice. You can also use conditional logic even for the submit button on the end of your form. So let's say you have a terms and conditions form that you want them to check off, and you don't want them to even be able to submit the form unless they check off that button. We'll say, so you don't even want the submit button to be an option unless they're going to agree to your terms and conditions. So as you can see, you just click the conditional logic button there, and that image won't even show up. So while we're back in here, this is the form settings, and these are the general settings for the whole form. So you can see at the bottom for the form button, you can use text or you can use a custom image if you want to upload that. You can change the text for your button, and then up higher you're going to have your form title, form description. Form description is optional if you want to put it in, you don't have to. You can choose your label placement there too. So lots of nice options for the form settings. Also in the form settings is where you can set up your notifications. So these notifications are super easy to set up. An admin notification to be sent to whoever the admin of the website is automatic. So they're going to get sent an email that has all the form fields in it automatically. Those entries will also be kept in the back, so at any time you can look over whatever entries you've had in the past. They're all going to be there. So besides the admin email, you can also set up an email to be sent to anyone that you want through CC, BCC, however you want to do it. You can customize these emails with HTML. You can also customize them with the data that they've submitted in your form. So this makes a great option for autoresponders. Speaking of autoresponders, so I have a client who has this widget that you see here in his sidebar. When somebody signs up for his email newsletter, he wants to send them this PDF. So of course, with the HTML in that notification, you can send just a link to the PDF that's on your site, and that's fine, that's easy to do. But if you want to actually attach the PDF to the email, you can do that by adding a plugin or by adding a little bit of code to your functions PHP file. So it's just another option that makes it a little bit nicer. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of the functionality of Gravity Forms. Let's talk about how easy Gravity Forms is to style. So like I said, Gravity Forms, when you download it, comes already set up with CSS ready classes. So what that means, if you have two field items and they're going to be displaying one on top of each other by default, but you decide that you want them to display side by side in columns instead, you can use these predefined CSS classes, gf underscore left underscore half, and then gf underscore right underscore half, and those items will display in columns instead of under each other. And you can see where you're going to put the class under the field tab under appearance. There's a place for custom CSS. So those are there's already a style sheet associated, so those will just work. If you have your own CSS classes that you want to put in there, you can put them in there too and create your own styles. So besides just the 2-column, there's also 3-column. There's also inline options if you want to, if you have several fields, small fields, and you want them just displayed inline. Again, I love this because, like I said, I believe a short form is the best form, and it's less likely to overwhelm the client, and they're more likely to complete the form. Also, that terms and conditions we were talking about earlier, if you have this huge terms and conditions, you don't want to overwhelm them, just use this scroll option to put it in this little box, then again, not overwhelming. So besides the ready classes and the custom CSS classes you can add, Gravity Forms automatically sets up specific IDs for each form field. So as you can see here, I've done a view source for my form, and right at the top you can see that it's noting what browser I'm using. So for any of you that have tried to style forms in Chrome and in Safari, you know they come out looking very different. So with this class, I can add this to my style sheet and make sure that they look the same across all browsers, which I think is a very nice option. So Gravity Forms automatically puts in general fields so you can style all of your Gravity Forms across your site, and specific IDs so you can target one specific form field and have it look different than all the other form fields. So these are done automatically. You can just inspect the element to find out what the class or ID is for that particular form field and style it appropriately. This is just a quick example of some of the CSS I might use in my style.css sheet. Okay, so let's talk about placeholders. Again, going back to the shorter forms or better forms, if you want to use placeholders instead of having the text above or below the form field, you can just add that quick line of code to your functions.php file, and instead of looking like this on the top, it's going to look like this on the bottom. So you can see with just those 4 fields how much shorter the form at the bottom is. So that's an option I like to use to make the overall form much smaller and more easy to deal with. Okay, so besides all those options, there are some other functionalities that Gravity Forms allows you, and those are you can export your entries. You can export them by the form fields. You can export them by a specific date. All sorts of options there. Not only can you export the entries, you can also export the forms itself. So if you spend a lot of time building a form on one site, then you can export it to another site through that same export-import option there that you saw. So another way that you can increase your functionality is through these add-ons. And like I said, these add-ons are available with the developer license. A few with the business license, but most with the developer license. So you can see here there's options for MailChimp, there's PayPal, there's Stripe. So you can integrate it with all kinds of options. If anybody's familiar with Zapier, that you see at the top right corner there, Zapier integrates with all kinds of other things like Google Docs, Salesforce, HubSpot, Trello, 28 different options the last time I checked. And again, new add-ons, new integrations are getting added all the time. So it's a good idea just to look these over and see what the options are, because maybe you can do something on your site that you weren't even thinking about, and this allows you to connect with other sites, and really your form functionality can be almost limitless with all these. So again, those add-ons are available mostly with the developer license. Some of my favorite add-ons are the user registration add-ons. So that allows you to integrate Gravity Forms with BuddyPress and PayPal. So if you want to have a paid subscription site, you can add users with a Gravity Form. I love the signature capture option. So if you want people to actually sign your form at the end, just install this signature add-on. One quick note is that this isn't technically legally binding. So if you think you're going to be in court for some reason over a form, you're going to want to pay for the license at approveme.me. Besides all those add-ons, there's also third-party plugins that allow you to increase your functionality. So there's the directory listing. So if you have maybe that membership site that you were talking about, and there's certain information that you want to give out about all your members, you can use this directory listing option to give out their name and maybe their contact information. Probably should get their okay on that, but this is an option. Or maybe you have like a garage sale site and you want people to be able to submit options that they want to, items that they want to sell. This way you don't have to be an intermediary. You can be if you want. You can select to have it automatically approved or to approve it yourself, but this makes it super simple to just display any entries you've gotten from your forms. Security. So number one, I recommend you do not keep any personal information on your website. With so many websites getting hacked these days, there's just too many liability issues, and it's just not a responsible thing to do. If you feel like you need to keep the entries in your back end, then I recommend that you at least encrypt your database. So you can do that with this Gravitate encryption plugin, and that allows you to encrypt your database. You can still read your entries in the back end, no problem. Just keep your key, but at least your database will be encrypted. Other options. Okay, so that's as much as I have time for if we're talking about Gravity Forms itself. Let's talk about what the competitors are for Gravity Forms. So Contact Form 7 has been around for a long time, and I think that's been one of the most popular plugins because it's a free option. So when you download Contact Form 7, it comes with a form already pre-installed. You can see right up at the top, it gives you a short code, so you can copy and paste that short code wherever you want, but there's not going to be any icons to easily put Contact Form 7 into your page or post. So this is what the form looks like on your site. So like I said, there's no widgets created for adding forms to the sidebars or widget areas. This form is set up automatically. You can customize it. You can add new forms. An email notification to the admin is set up by default. You can easily edit it or customize it, but there's not going to be anywhere to see all the entries. So if you lose that email that you get from the submission, it's gone. There's no way to go back and look it up. Now, just to go back for 1 minute, this is what it looks like in the back end. So as you can see, if you want to do any customization at all, you're going to need to feel at least a little bit comfortable with some HTML. If you just want a free form and this is all you need is your name, your email, your subject, your message, then maybe this is right for you. You're just going to copy and paste that short code into your page where you want it. And that's it. It's a free option. You get emails, and so maybe that's good enough for you. So that's one option. The other option that's a little bit newer on the market is Ninja Forms. Now, when you look at the back end of this, you can see that it looks very similar to Gravity Forms. Again, drag and drop functionality, which is really nice, and it has a lot of the elements that Gravity Forms does have. So this form that you see here is set up automatically when you install the plugin. Email notifications are set up automatically and customizable. Email notification to the admin, I should specify. You can see all the submissions in the back end, just like you can with Gravity Forms. So it seems to be very similar to Gravity Forms. As you can see, this is what the form is going to look like on the front end. There are widgets for adding the forms to sidebars or to widget areas. It gives you a short code. It gives you the icon, just like Gravity Forms does. In the visual edit, you'll even see the PHP code to insert it into your custom PHP template. So lots of nice options here. This basic plugin is free, but the catch is that you have to pay for all the add-ons to make it similar to Gravity Forms. So what do I mean by that? So here's all the add-ons that you can add with Ninja Forms. And these are more a la carte type add-ons where you add just the ones that you need. But the catch is that simple things like file upload, conditional logic, multi-part forms, those are going to be $39 each for one site. So if you want conditional logic and you want multi-part forms for one site, you've already spent more than you have for Gravity Forms basic license. If you have a lot of sites and you don't want to have to remember, okay, you know, did I pay for conditional logic on this form, or which site was it that I had it on, and I want to use multi-part, but now, you know, I have to upgrade or whatever. With Gravity Forms, you buy it and everything is included. You don't have to worry about adding things on as customers want to change their forms or add functionality to it. It's all included together. So, but maybe you want just a plain form. Maybe you just need conditional logic, and even if you need just one of these, conditional logic or multi-part or file uploads, you're spending $39, so why not get Gravity Forms with all the options in it? That's what I'm saying anyway. So I tried to set up a quick graph here for you to compare, but basically Gravity Forms makes your life simple. That's the thing. So if you have questions, please contact me at laura@martinetgroup.com. I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, you can again find this just the slides at slideshare.net. Please visit my personal website, wpdecoder.com, for more information on Gravity Forms. You can also get help at gravityhelp.com. This is the support you get when you purchase Gravity Forms. And gravitywiz.com just takes all this to the next level. He's really amazing there. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've learned something, and I hope to hear from you. Thanks so much.